He wasn't the kind of man anyone noticed, and that was precisely his greatest weapon. No flashy cars, no designer suits, no trail of indulgences. Just a name, if you could even call it that. To the few who ever whispered about him in dark corners of vault-protected boardrooms or the side offices of high-security banks, he was known only as the Moth. Why the name? Because like the quiet fluttering wings that go unnoticed in the dark, he slipped through the shadows of the world, devouring fortunes without anyone realizing he'd ever been there. From Hong Kong to London, Dubai to New York, vaults were emptied, accounts were drained, priceless paintings lifted from under infrared lasers, and not once did the security cameras see more than a brief flicker, a glitch they blamed on dust or timing. But the Moth wasn't magic. He was method. And above all, patience. His real name, unknown to any intelligence agency, was Daniel Marrow, though even that was just one of a dozen identities he used in careful rotation. Born in Prague to a locksmith father and a mother who worked in accounting, Daniel had grown up with two things: an obsessive curiosity and an unusually sharp mind. By 12, he could decode alarm circuits. By 15, he could reproduce voice patterns well enough to fool phone-based security systems. At 17, after cracking a high school administrator's login and accessing teacher salary files, he disappeared. Not physically. He simply stepped out of the life everyone thought he had, stopped submitting assignments, and created his first alias. Henry Dale, freelance data analyst and identity ghost. He never stole for attention. His crimes were quiet, precise, and always deliberate. His first real job was at a small cryptocurrency startup in Munich. In just 4 months, Daniel, under his alias, identified 12 security flaws, rewrote their server code, and duplicated their crypto wallets without leaving a digital fingerprint. He transferred nothing. He waited. And a full 3 years later, long after he'd moved on to another identity in another country, he siphoned out over $6 million, just as their market peaked. It was the start of a pattern: prepare, disappear, and pluck. He never took too much. Never triggered alarms. Most victims assumed internal error or blamed hackers from countries they couldn't pronounce. Daniel watched the world point fingers at ghosts while he sipped espresso in Vienna cafes, pretending to be an art dealer with a minor Instagram presence. But what made Daniel legendary among the secret few who suspected him was his cleanliness. He didn't leave DNA. He didn't touch what didn't need touching. When he walked into buildings, high-security firms, elite penthouses, or auction houses, he never wore gloves. He didn't need to. He wore ultra-thin polymer that felt like skin but left no residue. He memorized floor plans down to the millimeter, rehearsed his body movements in rented hotel rooms like a ballet dancer preparing for Swan Lake. He could mimic the gait of any employee he planned to impersonate. At one private bank in Luxembourg, he spent 6 months volunteering at a nearby espresso bar just to learn the staff's daily schedules and badge patterns. The day he entered the bank as a technician and left with a USB drive containing $38 million in bearer bonds, nobody blinked. The security manager even held the door for him. Interpol began compiling a ghost file by 2017. They had no name, no face, and no real leads. Just a trail of robberies so immaculate they bordered on myth. One FBI profiler called him a spider with no web, and claimed he had the psychological profile of a monk. Disciplined, cold, self-denying. But they were wrong about one thing. Daniel wasn't cold. He was precise, and behind his precision burned a kind of quiet fury. His mother had died when he was 19. Abandoned by a healthcare system that treated her life as a financial inconvenience. His father, depressed and debt-ridden, hanged himself 2 years later. Daniel never forgot how wealth insulated the wicked, how the corrupt lived untouchably while good people drowned in silence. His targets weren't random. He hit shell corporations, corrupt banks, tax havens, private arms brokers, and auction houses known to sell looted art. No civilians, no collateral damage. If a hospital ever lost power during his heists, he would have aborted the mission. By 2021, Daniel had accumulated over $112 million across offshore accounts he managed with digital dead man switches. If he didn't log into certain servers every 72 hours, the funds would be redistributed into anonymous charity networks. His greatest heist, however, wasn't measured in dollars. It was an event known in whispers as the Night at Lothridge. Lothridge Private Holdings was a silent vault beneath a hedge fund skyscraper in Lower Manhattan. It held not only money but leverage, documents, blackmail files, and bearer bonds on behalf of billionaires and criminals alike. The vault was believed to be uncrackable. Biometric locks, rotating key codes, a 3-person simultaneous access protocol, and a pressure-sensitive floor system. Daniel studied it for 4 years. He befriended a janitor. Then, posing as an ergonomics consultant, he did 3 evaluations of the building's design, gaining full 3D LiDAR scans. The night he entered, he bypassed the retinal scanner with a high-res projection printed on contact lenses. He replicated the key codes using sound frequency analytics captured from 2 unlocked microphones in an executive's office. And the floor sensors. He never stepped on them. He crossed the ceiling, inch by inch, using rigging equipment he'd smuggled in piece by piece inside fake ergonomic chairs. When he left, he didn't take cash. He took information. Data chips containing the secrets of some of the world's most powerful people. Over the next year, 5 major resignations occurred. 3 hush money payments were leaked. A senator stepped down citing personal reasons. Nobody knew the source. To those in power, it was as though the wind had turned against them. But Daniel never sent demands. He never asked for ransom. It wasn't about money anymore. It was about imbalance. He used the money he already had to create safe houses for whistleblowers, to fund independent journalists, to bury cancer bills for single mothers under a fog of anonymous wire transfers. He became, in some small circles, an urban legend, a thief with a conscience. But law enforcement agencies weren't feeling charitable. By 2023, the FBI, Interpol, and MI6 had active files with nearly 80 suspected aliases, each with different backgrounds and forged credentials. They placed him in 26 countries over a 10-year period, but they could never confirm a single fingerprint. Now nearing 40, Daniel grew quieter. He stopped large heists. He moved instead to erasure, deleting debts, hacking banks to forgive loans, manipulating digital profiles to give missing persons new identities. He stopped taking money and started giving people back their lives. Still, every time a high-profile cyber theft occurred, his name echoed in classified circles. No one had ever seen his face. No agency had even a partial print. Surveillance footage from dozens of thefts showed the same thing. Nothing. Empty holes. Slight glitches. A power outage followed by silence. The Moth, true to his name, was never seen, only the damage left behind, subtle but transformative. And so, the legend grew. Some say he's retired now. Others claim he died in a fire in Buenos Aires under another name. But there are those who still believe he's out there, somewhere, watching. That every now and then, when a corporation reports an internal accounting glitch, or when offshore millions vanish overnight and appear in the ledgers of a disaster relief fund, the Moth has returned, not to steal, but to balance.